Now then, we come to the next question. If Pax Judaica has arrived, then what comes next? What kind of world do we expect with a Pax Judaica? We've known what the world was like in Pax Britannica. That's your study. That's your studies, yeah. You've known what the world was like in Pax Americana. It was a blessing from Allah that after I did my master's degree in philosophy, and after I completed my studies at the Alimia Institute of Islamic Studies in Pakistan, it was a blessing of Allah that I went to study international relations at 2 universities. Because international relations is more valuable for me in the study of Islamic eschatology than any other subject you can find. So I want to recommend to you, those of you who want to become scholars, that you should devote some time to the study of international relations. Now then, what comes next? We don't have long to wait. Only next month we have to wait, when the General Assembly of the United Nations takes place in New York. And Macron announces French recognition of Israel. And Stama recognizes British recognition of Israel. I don't think it's far-fetched for us to anticipate that there'll be an avalanche of other countries who previously were siding with Israel, that they will recognize that they also must engage in damage control. And so you'll get a huge majority of the United Nations, member states of the United Nations, now extending recognition to Israel. This will do 2 things. This will make it clear to the supporters of the Zionist state that the United Nations cannot survive. They have to get rid of the United Nations, because the United Nations has now become no longer an asset to Israel, but a liability. Remember that it's because of the United Nations that Israel was born. Yes, it's because of the United Nations. They created the United Nations in 1945. So that Israel could be born in 1948 and be recognized in Israel, in the United Nations. So number 1, what comes after is a very great likelihood that next month there will be an avalanche of states in the United Nations who will now be recognizing Israel as a state. And that implication will be that the United Nations and other international organizations which follow the General Assembly, the way of the General Assembly, will now become a liability to Israel rather than an asset. And they will then move towards dismantling the United Nations. How to dismantle the United Nations? Simple. Stop supporting them with money. That's all. The United States will be the first to come out. We're not going to fund the United Nations anymore. And once the Western world starts funding the United Nations, that's it, it's finished. Good, number 2. What comes after? Putin in Russia recognition of Palestine, not recognition of Israel, sorry. my mistake. Recognition of Palestine in the General Assembly next month. When you go, this is what happens there. Now then, Putin in Russia has confirmed. He said, we believe that they robbed Trump of the election in 2020. Trump said, I was robbed. He was supposed to win the election and won instead. And there was a big insurrection in the United States. And they took Capitol Hill and so on. And Trump has not forgiven them for that. Trump wants revenge. That is his mission now, revenge. But he has to put some honey on the poison. Yeah. He has to conceal it. But when Trump lost the election in 2020, Europe celebrated. And Europe spent the next 4 years rubbing in that we support Biden. We don't want Trump. And they maligned Trump in every way, and they did everything they could possibly do, winning the election in 24. In fact, Britain sent people to support Biden in the election. And the Trump team had to complain of British people going to Britain. So when Trump won the election in 24, it's time. And Trump is seeking revenge to Ukraine. And he's doing it skillfully. He's embarrassing Europe. So Europe says it's time for us to hit back. And that's what's coming now. The next month, in the General Assembly, the United States is probably going to be left alone supporting Israel. And all the rest of the world will be recognizing Palestine. And that is the way Europe will embarrass Trump.